Jinx Chapter 40 is set to release on November 22, 2023. Now we will see the story transition to the MMA match promised a few chapters ago. However, there is a notable lack of focus in the latest chapter, and it's something that leaves readers wanting more. There's a significant possibility that Jaekyung's big fight may not even take place in Jinx Chapter 40. In the recent chapters of this Yaoi series, there's a somewhat malicious tone towards one of the main characters, Kim Dan. Certainly, Kim Dan has faced various troubles, but in the recent chapters, he's treated like a doormat, especially by Jaekyung, who doesn't even bother hiding it. If anything, as the chapters progress, Jaekyung becomes more ruthless towards Dan while appearing kind in certain instances. People are rooting for Kim Dan to overcome Jaekyung and turn him into a better person in the long run. However, judging by the views and popularity of the series, the conclusion remains uncertain. Jinx Chapter 40 content revealed. Jinx Chapter 40 will focus on the combat aspect of the story and prepare for the upcoming events. The romantic part highlights Jaekyung's disappointment since someone publicly disclosed his role. The identity of the Manga remains unknown, but they seem to have close ties to the characters. However, the crucial part is whether Jaekyung can win the fight. It's clear that there's a side wanting Jaekyung to lose, and they might even resort to drugging him. However, Kim Dan ends up using the drug, leading to some fan service. The upcoming chapters will reveal whether Kim Dan wakes up from the drug's effects and returns to consciousness. Given its potent effects, the drug might have lasting consequences for Kim Dan. While Jaekyung's future actions are uncertain, his current battle takes precedence. Jinx Chapter 39 Recap. Jinx Chapter 39 picks up where the previous chapter left off, with Kim Dan lying on top of Jaekyung, pleading. This sparks their interest in Jaekyung, who wants to see how far Kim Dan is willing to go. Instead of agreeing to Kim Dan's request, Jaekyung asks for Kim Dan's help. In Kim Dan's condition, the doctor decides to fulfill the request as there are no other options. Jaekyung is surprised to see Kim Dan comply so easily and enjoys every moment of it. Despite Kim Dan reluctantly trying his best to make Jaekyung comfortable, he does so without intending to reciprocate. Jaekyung realizes he has toyed with the timid doctor enough and helps him escape the dire situation. Nevertheless, one could argue that for an MMA fighter, it's all the same. He has secured a better deal through the exchange and might have plans to cause trouble for Kim Dan later, perhaps when Kim Dan wakes up and realizes what he has done and said.